Hey over there, Joe Lunchbox.
I'm Joy Nightingale.
And today we have landed right here in New York City. To be a little bit more specific, we're in Alphabet City, also known as the East Village. I came to the city the first time when I was 13 years old, so it would have been 1994, with my friend Garrett. And we had to lay out a whole layout. My mom was nervous about me coming to the city as a kid. And my dad said the one rule is you don't go to Alphabet City. I mean, we're talking 94. You didn't go to Alphabet City. And I think it's funny, many years later, I worked all throughout New York City. And Alphabet City is the only spot that felt like a neighborhood, that felt like a home, the whole community. And that's what we're going to talk about, a sense of community today. And in fact, on December 29th of 2024, we lost our 39th president, Jimmy Carter, passed away. And he worked to build communities by working with Habitat for Humanity. And his very first Jimmy Carter work project for Habitat Humanity, and also Habitat Humanity's first project in New York City, is in the East Village. So we're gonna walk there, tell you all about that, show you where I used to work, tell you about that, see what else we can find. Maybe some folk art, maybe some scary stories, maybe some filming locations. We are gonna tell you about the East Village. Should be fun. Hopefully you're into that kind of thing. If you are, we always like if you like our videos, subscribe to our channel, comment down below. Do you ever explore the East Village? Now, if you're a tourist, this isn't saying, hey, the East Village is a safe spot, definitely run and walk around with all your money sticking out. No, we still live in New York City. Be smart. But it is a cool neighborhood, don't miss. All right, I think it's time to do it. Step it up, let's go for this ride. So for about 5 years of my life, I would take the Long Island Railroad, then the F train, get off 2nd Avenue stop, make my way over to the corner of 1st Avenue and Avenue A, and turn right on to Avenue A, and I was almost home. My taco truck's gone. The best tacos in all of New York City used to be sitting on the corner of 2nd Avenue and Avenue A. And anyone says don't eat carb food in New York City doesn't know New York City. Best tacos ever. All right. We're passing Petopia too. When I was a free laundromat, Joy. My job is a laundromat. I didn't work at the laundromat at 31 Avenue A. For 5 years of my life, in the 2010s, I worked right there. It was not a laundromat. This was Venus Body Arts. Now, in case you aren't familiar, I used to work in the piercing tattoo industry. And there's a company called Maria Tash. She started as Venus Modern Body Arts around the corner on 4th Street. Opened up a second shop that's still on Broadway. Then opened up this shop where I worked called Venus Body Arts. She started doing piercings in New York City in 1993. The jewelry was high-end jewelry, and she evolved from just piercings. Still it's a piercing industry, but like it made its way to mainstream fashion. So the product evolved along with the company. It is the oldest still existing piercing shop in New York City. But I managed the tattoo side there. And like I was saying, this area felt like a town, felt like a community. We would hang out there. Me and my coworker Rob, tattoo artist named Alex, tattoo artist named Chris, a guy named Royal was also tattoo artist there. And we would just hang out, tell stories. We weren't the busiest of shops, but locals knew us and started to come in. We have Eek the Geek that lived around the corner. Eek the Geek is a Coney Island sideshow performer. And we sort of followed him, sort of following Eek led us to the path that we've lived through meeting other sideshows, the world we became. He'd stop in, tell stories. There's a guy, one of my favorite people that always would stop in, Axel Stocks. I'm wearing this ring right here. So the story of Axel Stocks is he was a world-renowned artist, yet he just was this chill little guy that walked around in New York City. Axel, telling some backstory that made the man, Axel was a product of World War II. His mother was in a concentration camp. While there, her husband and all her family was killed. She stayed alive because she was forced to have sex with Nazis, and that's why they kept her alive. He was a product of this rape. Axel was always torn by this. Obviously, his mother moved to America after the war. He grew up, and in the 60s, was trying to figure stuff out, and he discovered hippie guru Wavy Gravy. Wavy Gravy took Axl on many different kinds of trips, if you understand what I'm saying. And Axl started visioning stuff, and he started doing this gothic, psychedelic jewelry. Later, he befriended Salvador Dali. Dali heard about his story and his plight and told Axl, because that, you should do your paintings in blood. And Axl was the first blood painter. Like, there's a lot of people that copy it now, but this is where it was. Axl would come in and tell us stories. We used to have a sofa there, and Axl would come in with a beer and buy some tacos from the truck and sit down for hours just telling us stories. Sadly passed away in 2016, but he literally stopped in the day before he passed away and was telling us stories. Great guy. Imagine, he looked like this crazy evil metalhead, but he was more like a hippie wizard. And it was really cool. Axl, when he was telling the stories, you see the chest tattoo in this photo. He told the stories like he worked at a carnival. He didn't work at a carnival. The carnival came to town. He traded something with the tattoo artist to travel to the local carnival. And the guy let him tattoo his own chest in the tent one night in the dark, upside down with a mirror. And he would tell us stories, and like, Axl one day gifted me one of his rings, which means the world to me because the guy was so nice. Telling us stories about how hanging out with Giger on other planes of existence, walking into rooms where he had full replicas of the alien bugging him out. And it really was a home, having these people come in, tell us the stories. If you remember, I once told you a story about how me and my coworker Rob trapped filmmaker, actor Larry Fesden. We'll put a link to that down below when we were filming the video of the filming locations of The Dead Don't Die. But it happened right in there. Another local, right across the street from our shop, in front of that, which was a methadone clinic, was a guy named Manny. His name was Emmanuel Howard. He sold secondhand items out there for more than 35 years. The police didn't like Manny, where are you, Joy? Manny having his products. He would chain them up like that, and cops would come cut it, throw it out. So he actually came, and the owner was trying something new, selling clothing, so we had dressing rooms. So what Manny would do is, after he would shut down for the day across the street, load all the stuff up the cart, and he would hide all of this stuff in our dressing room. He would give us random items, like I have a whiskey decanter inside that looks like two basketball players.
Oh, wasn't one of them like the saxophone trunk?
And
like
another thing, that I bought for like $10. I bought a saxophone trunk, which is my performance trunk now for my sideshow. Everyone felt like a locals, and it was friendly. Like, if we didn't get our mail, if we were closed, they'd give it to the pet shop, and we'd go in, pet shop would come. It really felt like a community here. So we were gonna say bye to my old job here at 31 Avenue A, make our way up to 6th Street. We told you we were gonna talk to you about Jimmy Carter. So we're gonna head there now. But then stay tuned, all the goodness to come afterwards. The East Village has some interesting history. Had to just make a quick stop. Juicy Lucy, best coffee, East Village. Making our way down 6th Avenue, really gets sense of community. Beautiful little parks, One Love community fridges. We are almost at Avenue C. When I was a kid, you came to Alphabet City. I didn't come, but if you came, they would say, you make it to Avenue A, you'll be all right. You make it to Avenue B, you're brave. You make it to Avenue C, you're crazy. You get to Avenue D, you're dead. So we're going 6th Street between Avenue C and Avenue D. So we made our way to 742 6th Street here in the East Village. What stands behind us is Jimmy Carter's first Habitat for Humanity project. Now, obviously, Jimmy Carter was our 39th president. He fought for social justice, human rights, created stuff like the Board of Education. We're not talking though today about Jimmy Carter, the president. He was president from 77 to 81. But in 1984, he realized his ideals lined up with Habitat for Humanity. He did a project with them in March of 84, but he didn't lead that project. This behind us, the Mascot Flats, is the Jimmy Carter work projects, the first of his work projects. So it was a team that him and his wife were leading. The idea of Habitat for Humanity started in 1968, but the actual organization formed in '76. Like I was saying, this was Habitat for Humanity's first project here in New York City. We were talking in the 80s, the East Village fell to great disrepair. This building was more or less sitting abandoned. When they showed up with 42 people on buses to come fix this building, now we're looking at a 6-story building that had 19 families. The families were helping, and they were building this building. Everyone thought Jimmy Carter, president, is going to show up. He's going to just take some photos, do it. No, he was the first one on the job and the last one to leave. This was, like I said, his first project. Jimmy and Rosalind, his wife, started working with Habitat for Humanity, and their project was called the Jimmy and Rosalind Carter Projects. And they did this for more than 30 years. Over that time, they worked alongside 100 volunteers, and together they repaired more than 4,447 homes in 14 countries. The building looked a lot different when it was just getting started. Jimmy Carter, you see him, wasn't just here for the photos, even though this is a photo. He was getting his hands dirty helping build this building. Glad they're honoring him on the building. There's news interviews years ago that people that lived here didn't realize they were actually living in apartments now that Jimmy Carter helped renovate. It is crazy. Imagine 4,447 buildings. They either built, renovated, or repaired for Habitat for Humanity, creating housing for people in many countries. I actually have a photo of him on the site. You see, it says his first project with Habitat for Humanity, 1984. Another great photo. Jimmy and Rosalind on the roof. You see the Twin Towers in the background, working for this. And that's what I like about Habitat for Humanity. So there's the volunteers that came up. They brought the volunteers up from Georgia with them. Like I said, he did work with Habitat for Humanity in Georgia earlier that year in March. This would have been September of '84. But the people that lived here worked on the spots with them. That's what's the cool project. It really does build that sense of community and pride in what you're doing.
Well, yeah, because like they got their hands into what they were gonna have.
Yeah. We were talking to a local gentleman that lives in the building. He said they did put these banners up after he passed away in the end of December. Lived a good life though. Lived to 100 years old. Helped a lot of people. This is one of the buildings that got saved here. But we're about to head 1 block north. Talk about a building that didn't get saved. Actual filming location. Made a mistake. We're actually on 8th Street between C and D. Because right here, long gone, was the 1987 movie, Batteries Not Included, presented by Steven Spielberg, a film by Matthew Robbins. This area was chosen because the building once stood. You see there's no other buildings because they were demoing this area. We're talking the 80s. Figure, 84, Jimmy Carter just was restoring Mascot Flats. And now, 2 years later, they were filming this movie in '86. They needed to find a building that looked like it was about to be torn down. After they filmed, it was torn down. Now stands a city substation. Do you all remember that movie? Jessica Tandy? They had to save the diner, the apartment, and all the little alien robot-y flying things helped them save it. Crazy to think. Then that's why this area in the East Village. And figure that was a rough time to be filming in the East Village. But they needed that look. That's why they chose this area right here on 8th Street. It is gone. Mm-hmm. Building gone. Neighborhood totally different now. But Joe actually has a funny story about filming here.
So actually looking into like where supposedly this was being filmed and stuff like that, it was cute because I came upon like somebody telling their version of it. So what they had to do is they had to get prop rubble to make it look even more like it's going to be taken down, even though obviously it was taken down. So much to a point that somebody said that sanitation came and actually picked up their prop garbage or whatever. So, not everything is always going to be rainbows and kittens.
So we showed you where Jimmy Carter helped rebuild a house. A movie about a community getting together to save a building. Now we're going to tell you a story about a man feeding the homeless. This story isn't a friendly story. I mean, you should volunteer, you should help feed the homeless. This isn't that story. It's a dark tale, a true crime story here in Alphabet City. Before we get started, just want to warn you, this is a graphic story. If you want to skip this story, we'll put a timestamp right here so you can skip to that time and skip the graphic nature of the story. Behind me stands 700 East 9th Street. Now, in one of the upper apartments was a man named Daniel Rakowitz. Now, he was a little mentally ill. He still is. He's permanently locked up from it. In 1989, his girlfriend Monica, who was a dance student, she was an immigrant here studying dance, wasn't really his girlfriend. Roommate / sometimes lover. They lived in the apartment together. It was his apartment. She moved in, and he was having issues. Some people knew him as the Chicken Man. He'd walk around with a live chicken, some points a dead chicken around his neck. Well, he finally lost it. He kills Monica in the apartment, stabs her numerous times. To dispose of the body, he figures it's a good idea to dismember the body. He eats some of her body, but a way to get rid of it is he makes a stew out of Monica. No, not for him. He then proceeds to go a few blocks west to Tompkins Square Park and give out this stew. This stew isn't chicken stew, it's not beef stew, it's Monica stew. And he feeds the homeless Monica. Meaning these people become cannibals without even knowing it. Because some crazy guy killed his roommate and wanted to get rid of the body and ate it himself and thought it was fun to feed people it. I don't know. Crazy stuff happens in New York City. And that happened here in 1989. We're actually gonna go a few blocks down and take a look at Tompkins Square Park. Not see where he fed her people, but talk about different things that happened. There was riots there, there's cool monuments there. And just take in Tompkins Square Park. As we were making our way to Tompkins Square Park, I had to take in, I love cool art. And here we have flowers, it's actually called Winter Flowers. It was made from 2000 to 2023. Cans, bottles of stuff, local, gutter clean, a gift of the boy to the hood by Rolando. I love folk art. Have a free library. Looks like all the books are out at the moment. And then from folk art to a crazy, crazy beautiful mural. Let's see if I can get a different view that the tree's not blocked. Moved a little bit, got a better angle of that big giant mural. Some sign language on a canvas here, and below it, it says American Sign Language, teaching us, you see the I, L, Y, and then it spells out I love you. The I for I, the L for love, and the Y for you. And you combine them all to be I love you. And this was made by Sally Lelong. And it comes with a little postcard. Talk about sense of community. Did you lose your keys? Someone found them. Instead of just throwing them out, they made a little post. Those are the keys found. Oh, Tompkins Square Park, one of the biggest dog runs in all of New York City. So much so, at Halloween, they have a Halloween dog parade here. One of the center points of Tompkins Square Park is the Temperance Fountain. Now you see Henry Cogswell put these fountains around from 1878 to 1890. The point of the Temperance Fountains, to me, is silly. I figured the temperance movement was an anti-drinking movement. We haven't hit prohibition yet, but people were saying that drinking's bad, we're going to get rid of it. So the point of these fountains that he put around were drink more water, less alcohol. So sitting here is one of these from the 1800s fountains for drink more water, less alcohol. And it is a beautiful marble fountain, statue on top. Drinking fountain still in the center. Almost 150 years later.
Drink
Joy.
more water.
Yeah, you should drink more water. I'm not saying drink less alcohol. Everyone out there, drink more water. Hey, squirrel. Hey. Is that a tasty banana peel? I've heard of pizza rat. I never seen banana squirrel before. Oh, you got a good treat. Someone didn't eat the end of it. Oh, yum, yum, yum. Oh, we have another buddy coming. You gonna go steal his banana? That one was camera shy. You're like, if I stay completely still, they don't see me. Gotta tell you, Mr. Squirrel, I see you. Do you wait for all the dogs to leave the dog park? Do you look for extra dog biscuits? What do you want, Mr. Squirrel? I'm sorry, I don't have peanut. This peanut's right there for you. What do you want? He heard Joy was the squirrel mom, but she doesn't have any peanuts for him.
I seriously was checking. That's in my other pocket.
Bad squirrel mom, bad squirrel mom. We found the next thing I want to show you. Sadly, we can't get to it. It's the General Slocum Disaster Memorial Fountain. It looks like they're doing construction here in the park. Now, you might be saying, what's the General Slocum? And that's crazy that people don't know. Because you see, the General Slocum, was a side wheel riverboat that on June 14th, 1904, it sunk. It caught on fire and sunk in the East River. On the boat was 1,300 people. When it sunk, 1,021 people lost their lives. That was the biggest disaster, most lives lost in New York City up until 9/11. It's crazy. People don't even know this happened. And the only thing that we have right now is a little memorial behind a fence that's a fountain in Tompkins Square Park. Looking out over the park, it looks quite peaceful, but not always. Like we were saying, in the 80s and 90s, the East Village, Alphabet City, was a rough area. It was a lot of drug use, it was a lot of homeless, it was a lot of squatters, it was punk scene. Now this park, because of that, was a spot a lot of people hung out in, and more important than that, lived in. This park was a 24-hour park, but in 1988, the city decided, we'll impose a 1 a.m. curfew, close the park. And figure how many people were squatting here, punks hanging out here. It didn't go well. On August 6th, the riots happened. Now, there was a clash between the police and the protesters, but the police went crazy. They covered their badges and they started beating people. Tons of people. To the point they were beating reporters. These were people coming out of their buildings that weren't part of the protest. They were beating them too. There was a photographer that, based out of the East Village, Lower East Side, Clayton Patterson. He was photographing at the Pyramid Club and he came out and he saw this and walked over and documented it. And a lot of his video footage of that was actually what they used in those things to see what actually happened, because the media wasn't here, but he was in the thick of it. I'm pretty sure they knocked out his teeth in the riots. And it's funny, he got arrested because the city wanted to confiscate his film footage, and he said he'd rather go to jail, and he finally settled that they could get a copy of it. But craziness happened in these parks of those riots. It didn't end well. Imagine coming around. That's the one problem. It's homeless, and they're like, you can't stay here. They don't give you a viable option where you could stay. Like, you need to sleep somewhere. It's just life. Everyone has to sleep. So we came. We saw Jimmy Carter. I told you stories about where I worked.
Yep.
Some true crime.
Yep.
Some batteries not included filming locations. A little bit about the riots. Now, you know the best way to end that, because it's not to end it just sitting on a bench.
No, on a sweet note.
On a sweet note, exactly. We were going to leave Tompkins, go across the street to Ray's Candy Shop. So Ray's Candy Shop is actually a candy shop across the street, open 24 hours. First opened 1974 by Raymond Alvarez, an immigrant, came here, living the American dream. He's in his 90s, he still works there. I mean, I want to document this because I don't know how long he's going to be alive. I don't know how long it's going to be there. If you come to New York City and you are looking for something truly authentic, the idea of an immigrant living the American dream, come to Ray's Candy Shop. I'm not joking you. And get an egg cream. You get some ice cream, get whatever you want. But classic egg cream, this is one of the good spots to get it, I still feel. In fact, that's what I'm going to get. I'm going to go get myself an egg cream. There it is, Ray's Candy Shop. 113 Avenue A, a staple of New York City. And it's not just candy, we got some foods. got some beignets, Belgian fries. You want a tuxedo twist? You come to New York, this is where you go. We actually have Ray sitting at the soft serve machine inside. Look, right there on the door, Joy. Classic egg cream sold here.
Hi, can I get a medium chocolate egg cream?
Chocolate egg cream, yeah. Beautiful day.
Yeah.
Sunshine. No sun.
No sun, but no rain, like they said, so I'll take it.
Yeah. Every day is a gift, you know.
Yeah.
I am 92.
Yeah.
And I appreciate another day.
Understand that.
Yeah. Okay, that's quite a lot. Good. Beautiful earth we have. You don't appreciate it. Nice snow, flower, blueberry, fruit.
And if you don't know what an egg cream is, it's just chocolate, milk, seltzer, delicious. A New York staple. And a great way to end the video, talking about community. See that? Ray, 92 years old, still here, still supporting this community, making egg creams for everyone. I love it. I love this spot of New York City so much. Enjoy that delicious egg cream.
It's magical.
It tastes like New York City.
It's so magical.
It actually tastes like chocolate milk with seltzer, which is delicious.
It's like so wrong, but so right.
So there you have it. A day hanging out, wandering around Alphabet City. I still like calling it Alphabet City. I know it's the East Village. They rebranded it because, like I said, how bad and rough it was in the 80s. People didn't want to go to Alphabet City. But everyone wants to go to the East Village.
Exactly. Magical.
We're glad we got to show you all that stuff, especially the Jimmy Carter Mascot Flats, his
that was
very
so cool.
first Jimmy Carter Habitat for Humanity project.
Yep.
But I think we could call it
I think so.
East Village. Been there, done that. Remember, folks, safe travels
Good eats and drinks.
and live life. One last note. We were just talking about behind us, Tompkins Square Park. Doing a 360. A little bit down the road, Ray's Candy Shop. When the riots happened, Ray stayed open. It was open 24 hours, always been. Ray stayed open while the riots were happening. Crazy.